So today we'll be talking about something that is all over the news and giving it some real deep thought, because I think that one of the worst mistakes that people make is to hear anything, whatever it is, and not think about the long-term consequences of that action. And what I'm talking about here is the proposal of the 4-day work week. Today we'll be covering what it is, what it means, and also the two biggest problems that I see with that proposal and why I don't think it's a good idea. Stay until the end of the video and you'll see why. My name is Andrew Peasy. I'm an entrepreneur and investor out of Las Vegas, and I want to welcome you to the AP Show, where we'll be focusing on how to build a great life around health, wealth, love, and happiness, which I believe are all needed in order for you to have a great life overall and not just in one specific area of your life. I only have one favor to ask from you. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you never miss the content that we're dropping every single Monday. Whenever you hit the like button, YouTube pushes out this video to more people, and that way more people can come on this journey with us and learn every single Monday of the content that we put out. First of all, let me give you some context, because I want to make sure that it's very clear so that when we get to the actual information, you know what we're talking about here. Typically, when you have a job, you work 5 days out of the week. You have 2 days to rest, spend time with your family, do fun stuff, go on a trip, or whatever you want to do with those 2 days that you're going to be having off. The 5-day work week has been implemented for years now. In fact, it's become the norm to a point where 99% of the US companies utilize this structure to where they have their teams or their employees come in 5 days a week and give them 2 days off. The reason it's worked so well, you may ask? I'll give you all the info and you'll make your own judgment. The 4-day work week proposal is now to work 4 days a week, have 3 days off, therefore making you work less hours per week. But the questions that I would ask myself would be, is it good to have more free time in my hands? What do you want to do with so much free time? Is it healthy for you? But most importantly, is working less hours a week going to make you live longer, or is it going to make you live less? Stay until the end and you'll see all the stats, because I like to always research the numbers and make sure that what I'm talking about is actually facts. Let me give you some stats that may blow your mind. In the US, which by the way is the country with the strongest labor market and the strongest economy in the world, the average person works 40 hours a week. Then we have Austria, where the average person works 35 hours a week. Then Germany, 33 hours a week. And if you wonder who had the lowest at only 29 hours, is Netherlands. By the way, we're not talking about small countries with no population here. We're not talking about countries with 100 to 500,000 people living in them. We're talking about massive countries with a bunch of people living in them. What I'm trying to say and show you here is that all those countries that are working less and less hours are coincidentally creating weaker economies with less inventions and also less capitalism-driven mentalities. So I think that you know where I'm going to with this. The reason why I wanted to give you all the information before we jump onto analyzing whether it's a good idea or a bad idea to work 4 days instead of 5 days in a week is because I want you to have all the information so you can form your own opinion, so that then I can give you mine, and when we get to the end of the video, then we can see if it's a good or bad idea without you thinking that I'm trying to convince you otherwise. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I think too many of us, whenever we see a concept or an idea like this, we immediately jump into thinking, wow, this is amazing. I'm gonna get paid the same amount of money by working 4 days instead of 5. This is awesome. Without actually dissecting what it actually means and what it will cost to make this concept a reality. It also depends on what stage of your life you're in and also what your life goals are. As far as like whether you want to run a business, or if you run a business right now, or you just work for a company. But I think this idea and this explanation of the concept will serve you either way. So stay until the end, but also comment below with any thoughts or ideas, or if you're agreeing or not, because I think that we can create a good debate here without just taking one side or the other. Because even if you think about it from a perspective of an employee, which would be, well, they're working less, so you're paying them less an hour, therefore the company's expenses will decrease. You have to also look at it from the business owner perspective, which is if my employee is making less, even if they're working less, their inability to meet their day-to-day bills and payments that they need to make will decrease, and then I need to increase that pay as an employer to match what they needed to be making before to keep paying rent and food and car and insurance and everything else, so that they don't think about quitting. Because if you're making less, even if you're working less, you don't understand that at the end of the month you have bills that you need to meet. And so the employer, what they're going to be facing with this beautiful concept is you're paying the same to an employee that is only giving you 80% of the labor that they used to. If you give it some thought, the first thing that we need to be looking at is the fact that by going from 5 days to 4 days in a week, you're taking one of the 5 days in a week that the company uses to produce the product that they have or sell the services that they offer, thereby increasing the labor shortage by 20% automatically. One more thing that I can tell you on the business side of things is that it depends on what stage your business is or what stage the company that you work for is to see if they can accommodate or if the 4-day work week works for them. But what I can tell you is that for a startup, for a company that is just being founded and started, it will never work. Had I worked only 4 days when I started my insurance company, we would be bankrupt. We would never have succeeded the way that we did. Now, that is from the economy side of things, business and employees and just everything related to money. But I also promised you that we would be looking at it from happiness, fulfillment, and also health. So that brings me to the biggest problem the world has right now, and that the 4-day work week would only worsen that problem, and that is boredom. When you think about it, we send our kids to school and also have them do extra activities after school to keep them busy. We know for a fact that the more free time they have, the more destructive they can become. And this is not only for kids, this is just an example, but human beings in general. The more free time we have on our hands, the more destructive that we can become. Now, that's where generally all the shootings come from, all the drugs and the parties and all the time wasters. It happens when we have too much free time in our hands. So this 4-day work week thing would be like saying, hey, now our kids are only going to go to school 3 days for only 3 hours a day. What are they going to do with all that extra time? Do you think it's going to be good and constructive, or could it be destructive? I don't think that's a good idea. Do you? That's why I think that you should comment below, because I think that we could create a good debate based on this. But think about it for a second. Would it be a good idea to have your kid only do 3 hours a day for 3 days a week of school rather than 5 like they do right now? The last thing that I want to give you for you to analyze if this is a good idea to work less or not is life expectancy when you retire at 55 years old versus when you retire at 65 years old. When you retire at 55 years old versus 65, you're 37% more likely to die sooner than the person that retired at 65. But also, and even crazier, is you have an 89% higher chance to die within 10 years of retirement if you retire at 55 versus at 65. Isn't that crazy? So do you really think that it's worth sacrificing all the things that we talked about in this video for that one extra day of just free time? I truly think that us as humans, we want to feel like we're making an impact in the world. And also, with all the reason in the world, I think that people that work less and have too much free time feel useless, and that's why they get depressed and shootings happen, and again, all those things that we talked about. Why do you think that somebody that retires at 55 dies sooner than somebody that retires at 65? Because that person that retires at 65 still feels like they're contributing to the world and doing things that matter into this world. So think about that. And now let's get into the conclusion of the video, and please comment below with what you think after seeing all this information and not just the headline of 4 days instead of 5. With that being said, for those of you who have massive visions and want to accomplish big things in life, Do not buy into this. If you want to achieve anything meaningful, anything big, or you have a massive vision, you need to be working 5, 6, and even 7 days a week. That's what I did when I opened my company, because I wanted my company to be such a big company that I couldn't work 4 days and make that huge dream happen. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, feel free to follow me on Instagram so that you can get daily content from me there. But also comment below with whether this video brought you value, and if not, then with the reason why not. But other than that, take care everybody. Thank you for watching.